You are listening to HOA Neighbor Wars. My missing package became their favorite weapon. I care what the rule says, Nicole shouted, jabbing her finger at my doorbell camera like it was a weapon. She stood on my porch at 7 in the morning, her cheap lanyard whistle bouncing against her tan trench coat, her face red and her voice loud enough to wake the entire row of townhomes. Filming is a violation, and your evidence is not allowed, she said, stepping closer until her visor nearly touched my lens. I opened the door halfway, keeping my hand on the frame. I am a building inspector, so I know what documentation looks like, and I know when someone is lying about rules to cover their own tracks. Nicole Barrett was the enforcement liaison for the Granite Falls Property Owners Association here in Seattle, and she had been making my life miserable for 3 months. This morning, she was angrier than I had ever seen her. Someone rummaged through Tyler's car last night, she said, crossing her arms. He parks 2 spots down from you. I saw your silhouette in the walkway around midnight. You were carrying something. I was not outside last night, I said, keeping my voice steady. I was home. My car has not moved since I got back from work at 6. Nicole shook her head hard. I do not need proof. I have paperwork and vibes, she said, pulling a folded notice from her coat pocket. She slammed her portable rolling stamp pad onto it like a judge sentencing me. This is your formal warning. You have 24 hours to provide a statement and proof of your location last night, or I am reporting you to management and recommending immediate parking suspension. I stared at her. Parking suspension meant losing my assigned spot, which in this high-density townhome complex was a disaster. Parking was a constant war here. There were never enough guest spaces, and street parking was permit only. My car was essential for my commute to job sites across King County. Losing my spot meant showing up late to inspections, missing deadlines, and risking my reputation. Nicole turned and walked down my steps, her whistle swinging. I am speaking for the community, she called over her shoulder. Everyone is watching you now. I closed the door and stood in my entryway, my chest tight. The doorbell camera had a clear view of the walkway and my parking spot. I pulled out my phone and opened the app. The footage from last night showed my car sitting untouched from 6 in the evening until dawn. At midnight, the timestamp showed the walkway empty except for a brief shadow that passed under the light near Tyler's spot. The shadow was too short and moved too fast to be me. I saved the clip and sent it to my email as a backup. I walked to the management office that afternoon with the footage on my phone and a printed copy of the timestamp breakdown. The office was tucked behind the clubhouse, a small brick building with glass doors and a reception desk staffed by a calm woman named Debra. The management office closed at 5, and I had one shot to deliver the dispute packet in person before Nicole could spin the story further. Debra looked up when I walked in. She had gray hair pulled back in a bun and reading glasses on a beaded chain. "How can I help you?" she asked, setting down her pen. "I need to file a formal dispute against a theft accusation," I said, handing her the printed footage breakdown. "Nicole Barrett accused me of rummaging through a neighbor's car last night. I have doorbell camera footage proving I was home and my car did not move. I also have a timestamp log showing the shadow she saw was not me." Debra took the papers and flipped through them slowly. She frowned. "I do not see this in the system," she said, typing on her keyboard. "Nicole submitted a notice this morning, but she marked it as a courtesy warning with no follow-up required. There is no formal complaint filed." I felt my stomach drop. She told me I had 24 hours to provide a statement, or she would recommend parking suspension. Debra shook her head slowly. "That is not how we handle theft accusations. If she suspects criminal activity, she has to file a formal complaint with documentation. She cannot threaten enforcement without going through proper channels. Let me pull her submission. She clicked through screens for a minute, then stopped. Here it is. She submitted a one-line note saying she observed suspicious activity and issued a verbal courtesy warning. No accusation, no follow-up, no timeline. She closed it herself this morning. That is not what she told me, I said, my voice rising. She stood on my porch with a stamp pad and a formal warning notice and said I had 24 hours. Deborah printed the screen and handed it to me. This is what is in the system. If she told you something different, you need to document it and submit it as a separate complaint. But right now, there is no active case against you. I took the printout and stared at it. Nicole had framed the whole thing as official while making sure nothing was on record. If I did not comply, she could escalate later and claim I ignored a warning. If I did comply, I would be admitting guilt to something that was not even filed. It was a trap. I left the office and walked back through the complex, past the rows of identical townhomes and the packed parking lot. My mind was racing. Nicole had accused me publicly, threatened my parking, and then buried the accusation so it looked like I was overreacting. I needed more than doorbell footage. I needed proof she was lying, and I needed it before she escalated again. That night, I printed the portal audit log screenshot Deborah had given me. It showed Nicole had opened the complaint, typed one line, and closed it within 3 minutes. She had not reviewed my statement, had not requested footage, and had not followed any of the standard investigation steps. I folded the printout and kept it in my hoodie pocket with the delivery photo printout I still carried from an unrelated package dispute last month. Both were evidence now. The next morning, I found a package missing from my porch. It was a small box I had been expecting. A replacement part for a job site tool. The delivery confirmation email showed it had arrived at 9 the previous morning. But when I checked my porch at noon, it was gone. I pulled up the doorbell footage and watched Nicole walk up my steps at 10:30, pick up the box, examine it, and walk away with it under her arm. I called Deborah immediately. I need to file a theft report, I said. Nicole Barrett took a package from my porch this morning. I have it on camera. Deborah sighed. Bring the footage to the office. I will add it to your file. I arrived at the office 20 minutes later with the footage on my phone. Deborah watched it twice, her face tight. This is serious, she said. I need to escalate this to the property manager. But I have to tell you, Nicole submitted another notice this morning. She is claiming you left trash in the common area near the mailbox cluster, and that you failed to respond to her courtesy warning about the car incident. I did not leave trash anywhere, I said. And I did respond. I brought you documentation yesterday. Deborah nodded. I know, but she is escalating faster than I can process your complaints. She marked this new one as urgent and requested immediate enforcement action. The property manager is out until tomorrow, so I cannot override her without approval. What does that mean? I asked. It means she is authorized to issue a town notice if you do not comply with her trash removal demand by end of day. I felt my hands shake. A town notice meant my car could be hooked and removed within hours. It was exactly what Nicole wanted. She was stacking violations to justify the tow, and she was doing it faster than I could fight back. I left the office and walked to the mailbox cluster. There was no trash near my box. I checked every side, every corner, every bin. Nothing. I took photos of the empty area and sent them to Deborah with a timestamp. Then I walked to the clubhouse to check if anyone else had seen Nicole that morning. The clubhouse was a small brick building with a kitchenette, folding tables, and a storage closet in the back. I pushed the door open and found Tyler inside, filling a water bottle at the sink. He looked up when I walked in. "Hey," he said, setting the bottle down. "I heard Nicole has been on you about the car thing. I told her I do not think it was you. The guy I saw was way shorter." "You saw someone?" I asked, stepping closer. Tyler nodded. "I was coming back from my shift around midnight, and I saw someone near my car. They were bent over by the passenger door. I yelled, and they ran toward the guest lot. It was not you. You are like 6 feet. This guy was maybe 5'6", 5'7", skinny build. I told Nicole that this morning when she asked me about it, but she said my description did not match the timeline she had." "She is lying," I said. "She told me she saw my silhouette. Now you are telling me you gave her a description that does not match me at all." Tyler shrugged. "I do not know what her deal is, man. But I will back you up if you need a statement. I do not want this blamed on the wrong person." I thanked him and left the clubhouse. My phone buzzed as I crossed the parking lot. It was a text from an unknown number. The message said, "Final notice. Trash removal required by 5 p.m. or tow authorized. Nicole Barrett, Enforcement Liaison, Granite Falls, POA." I checked the time. It was 4:15. I had 45 minutes to prove I had not left trash and to stop the tow threat. I called Deborah again, but the office phone went to voicemail. I ran back to the office and found the door locked. A sign on the glass said, "Closed early for emergency maintenance. Reopens tomorrow at 9 a.m. Nicole had timed it perfectly. She knew the office would close early, and she knew I would have no way to dispute the trash claim before her deadline. I pulled out my phone and called the tow company listed on the complex entrance signs. A dispatcher answered on the third ring. "This is the tow line," he said. "I am calling about a potential unauthorized tow at Granite Falls Townhomes," I said. "I am a resident, and I have been threatened with a tow over a false violation. Can you tell me if a tow order has been placed for my vehicle?" "I need your plate number and authorization code," he said. I gave him my plate. The dispatcher was silent for a moment, then said, "I show an order placed at 4 p.m. by an enforcement liaison. The driver is en route. ETA is 20 minutes. "Who authorized it?" I asked. "Nicole Barrett. She provided an authorization code and a violation report." "I do not have an active violation," I said. The enforcement liaison lied. "I have documentation proving the trash claim is false, and I have footage showing she took a package from my porch this morning. Can you cancel the tow?" The dispatcher sighed. "I cannot cancel without authorization from the person who ordered it or from property management. If you want to dispute it, you need to be there when the driver arrives and show him your proof. If he agrees the order is invalid, he can refuse the job. But that is on him, not me." I hung up and sprinted to my parking spot. The tow truck pulled in 10 minutes later, a flatbed with bright yellow strobes. The driver climbed out, a heavy-set guy in a reflective vest with a clipboard. He walked toward my car without looking at me. "Hold on," I said, stepping in front of him. "This tow is unauthorized. I have proof the violation report is false." The driver stopped and looked at me. "You got paperwork?" I pulled out my phone and showed him the photos of the empty mailbox area, the timestamp, and the email from Deborah confirming there was no active complaint in the system. Then I showed him the portal audit log printout, proving Nicole had closed the original accusation without investigation. The driver looked at the phone, then at the printout, then back at me. "Who ordered the tow?" "Nicole Barrett," I said. "She is the enforcement liaison. but she does not have authority to order a tow without an active violation on file. The driver frowned. I need to see the authorization code. He pulled out his phone and called the dispatch. After a minute, he hung up and looked at me. Dispatch says the authorization came through their standard channel and the code matches. But the violation description is vague. It just says failure to comply with courtesy notice. No specifics. That is because the violation does not exist, I said. She made it up to justify the tow. I have a witness who can confirm the original accusation was false, and I have footage of her stealing a package from my porch. The driver looked uncomfortable. Look, man, I just hook what I am told to hook. But if you are saying the order is bogus, I need to see something official. A letter from management, a police report, something that says this is a disputed claim. I do not have time to get that, I said. The management office is closed until tomorrow, and she timed this so I could not dispute it. The driver shook his head. Then I cannot help you. I have an order and an authorization code. If you want to fight it, you need to go through the proper channels. He walked toward my car. I stepped in front of him again. If you hook my car, I am filing a police report for theft, I said. I have documentation that this tow is unauthorized, and I have proof the enforcement liaison is lying. The driver stopped. He stared at me for a long moment, then pulled out his phone again. He called dispatch and had a longer conversation this time. I could hear him saying things like disputed claim and resident has documentation and possible false report. After 5 minutes, he hung up and looked at me. Dispatch says they cannot cancel the order without a callback from the person who placed it, he said. But they also said if I feel the order is fraudulent, I can refuse the job and file an incident report. So here is what I am going to do. I am going to call the enforcement liaison right now and ask her to confirm the violation details. If she cannot give me specifics, I am walking. He dialed Nicole's number and put it on speaker. It rang 6 times, then went to voicemail. He tried again. Same result. He looked at me and shook his head. She is not picking up, he said. That is a red flag. If she ordered the tow, she should be available to confirm it. I am refusing the job and filing an incident report with my company. You should file a police report about the package theft and the false tow order. This whole thing smells bad. He walked back to his truck, wrote something on his clipboard, and drove away. I stood in the parking lot shaking. I had stopped the tow, but Nicole was still out there, still escalating, still untouchable. I went home and called the non-emergency police line. A deputy arrived an hour later and took my statement. I showed him the doorbell footage of Nicole taking the package, the portal audit log proving she had falsified the complaint timeline, and the text message about the tow threat. He wrote everything down and gave me an incident report number. This is harassment and theft, he said. We will follow up with the enforcement liaison and the property management company. Keep all your documentation and do not engage with her directly. If she contacts you again, call us immediately. The next morning, I went to the management office as soon as it opened. Debro was at her desk and the property manager, a tall man named Greg, was standing beside her. He looked tired. I heard about the tow incident, Greg said before I could speak. Nicole submitted a report claiming you threatened the driver and obstructed the tow. She is demanding we escalate to a formal hearing and suspend your parking privileges immediately. If you are enjoying this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more wild HOA drama and justice served. I stared at him. That is a lie, I said. I have the driver's incident report and a police report confirming the tow was unauthorized. Nicole stole a package from my porch, falsified a violation claim, and tried to tow my car to punish me for disputing her. Greg held up his hand. I know, he said. Deborah briefed me. I also pulled the portal logs and I can see Nicole has been closing complaints without investigation. That is a major procedural violation. But here is the problem. Nicole is claiming she has additional evidence that you have been stealing from the Clubhouse storage, and she says she caught you on video. What video? I asked. Greg pulled out his phone and showed me a short clip. It was grainy security footage from inside the clubhouse. The timestamp said 2 nights ago. A figure in a hoodie walked into the storage closet and came out carrying a box. The figure's face was not visible, and the lighting made it impossible to identify anyone. That is not me, I said. I have not been in the clubhouse storage in weeks. Nicole says the figure matches your build and your jacket, Greg said. She wants a formal investigation, and she is pushing for your immediate removal from the property. I need to see that footage in full, I said, and I need to know when it was recorded and who has access to the storage closet. Greg nodded. I will send you a copy. But I need you to understand. Nicole has a lot of support on the board right now. If we cannot prove she is lying, this is going to go to a hearing and you are going to lose. I left the office with the footage file and walked back to my townhome. I watched the clip a dozen times. The figure was wearing a brown hoodie similar to mine, but the gait was wrong and the build was too slight. Then I noticed something. The figure was carrying a box, but the box had a distinctive shape. It was a long, flat toolbox with a yellow handle. I did not own a toolbox like that, but I had seen one in the clubhouse storage closet a month ago when I helped a neighbor move furniture. I pulled out my phone and called Tyler. Do you remember that yellow toolbox in the clubhouse storage? I asked. Yeah, Tyler said. It belongs to the maintenance guy. He keeps his supplies in there. Why? I just saw security footage of someone taking it out of the closet 2 nights ago. Nicole is trying to pin it on me, but I have never touched that toolbox. Tyler was quiet for a moment. Wait, he said. Nicole asked me about that toolbox yesterday. She said someone reported it missing and she wanted to know if I had seen anyone near the storage closet. I told her I had not been in the clubhouse in days. But she was acting weird about it. She kept asking if I knew who had keys to the closet. Who has keys? I asked. Just the board members and the maintenance guy, Tyler said. Nicole is on the board. She has a key. I hung up and stared at the wall. Nicole had access to the storage closet. She had a key. She could have taken the toolbox herself and staged the footage to frame me. But I needed proof she was lying. And I needed it fast. I called Deborah and asked her to pull the key log for the clubhouse storage. Every time a board member checked out a key, they were supposed to sign a log and return it within 24 hours. Deborah sent me a scanned copy an hour later. The log showed Nicole had checked out the storage key 3 times in the past 2 weeks. The last entry was dated 2 nights ago, the same night as the security footage. I called Greg and told him what I had found. He was silent for a long moment. That is not proof she took the toolbox, he said. It just proves she had access. It proves she lied about not being in the storage closet that night, I said. And it proves the footage could show her, not me. I need you to compare the figure in the video to Nicole's build and gait. Greg sighed. I will review it. But even if the figure is Nicole, she can claim she was checking inventory or responding to a report. You need something more concrete. I hung up and sat in my living room, staring at the key log printout. I needed a smoking gun. I needed proof Nicole was stealing, not just accessing the storage. And then I remembered the package she took from my porch. I still had the delivery confirmation email. It included a photo of the package on my porch, timestamped at 9 in the morning. If I could prove Nicole had taken it and kept it, I could tie her to theft. I called the delivery company and explained the situation. The representative pulled up my order and confirmed the package had been delivered and signed for electronically by the driver. But there was no signature from me or anyone at my address. The package was marked as delivered to the porch and left unattended. "Can you tell me what was in the package?" I asked. The representative read the order details. It was a replacement battery pack for a cordless drill, shipped from a hardware supplier. I thanked her and hung up. Then I walked to the clubhouse. If Nicole had taken the package, she might have stashed it somewhere. I checked the storage closet first, but it was locked. I tried the main clubhouse door and found it open. Inside, the folding tables were stacked against the wall and the kitchenette was clean. I walked to the storage closet door and tried the handle. It was locked, but the door frame was loose. I pushed gently, and the latch gave way with a soft click. Inside, the closet was packed with supplies: cleaning bottles, folding chairs, extension cords, and a stack of boxes on the top shelf. I pulled a chair over and climbed up. The boxes were labeled with black marker in Nicole's handwriting. I opened the first one. Inside were rolls of paper towels, trash bags, and a yellow toolbox with a handle. I opened the second box. Inside were 3 packages. One was mine. The label matched my address and the delivery confirmation timestamp. The other 2 had different addresses, both within the complex. All 3 packages had been opened and resealed with packing tape. I took photos of everything: the boxes, the packages, the toolbox, the labels. Then I climbed down and called the police non-emergency line again. I explained what I had found and gave them my incident report number from the day before. The dispatcher said a deputy would be there within 30 minutes. I waited outside the clubhouse. Nicole appeared 10 minutes later, walking fast across the parking lot with her phone in one hand and her whistle bouncing against her chest. She saw me and stopped. "What are you doing here?" she said, her voice sharp. "I am waiting for the police," I said. "I found stolen property in the clubhouse storage, including my package." Nicole's face went pale. She stepped closer, her phone raised like she was recording. "You broke into the storage closet," she said. "That is trespassing. I am calling management right now." "The door was unlocked," I said. "And the police are on their way. You can wait here with me or you can leave, but either way, they are going to see what is in that closet." Nicole pulled out her huge key ring and jingled it like it was authority. "I have every right to access that closet," she said. "I am the enforcement liaison. I am speaking for the community." "You do not have the right to steal packages and frame residents for theft," I said. "I have photos of everything in that closet, including my package with the delivery label still on it. I also have the key log showing you were in the storage the same night as the security footage you tried to use against me." Nicole's face turned red. She opened her mouth to respond, but a patrol car pulled into the parking lot before she could speak. A deputy climbed out and walked toward us. I recognized him from the night before. "You called about stolen property," the deputy said, looking at me. "Yes," I said. "I found my stolen package and several others in the clubhouse storage closet. The person who took them is standing right here." The deputy looked at Nicole. She took a step back, her key ring still in her hand. "I did not steal anything," she said, her voice high. "I was inventorying supplies. Those packages were left in the common area, and I moved them to storage for safekeeping." "They were taken from residents' porches," I said. "I have doorbell footage of you taking mine. And the other packages have different addresses. They were all opened and resealed." The deputy asked me to show him the closet. I led him inside and showed him the boxes on the top shelf. He took photos of the packages, the labels, and the toolbox. Then he asked Nicole to step inside. "Can you explain why these packages are in your storage closet?" he asked. Nicole hesitated. Her face was still red, but her voice was quieter now. I found them in the common area near the mailbox cluster, she said. I moved them to storage because I thought they were abandoned. The labels have current addresses and recent delivery dates, the deputy said. These are not abandoned. These are stolen. I did not steal them, Nicole said, her voice breaking. Someone else must have put them there. You have the only key to this closet besides the maintenance staff, I said, and the key log shows you checked it out 3 times in the past 2 weeks. You are the only person who had access. The deputy looked at Nicole. I need you to come with me to the station, he said. We are going to take a formal statement and investigate this further. If any of these packages belong to residents in this complex, you are going to be charged with theft. Nicole stared at him. Then she looked at me, her eyes wet. This is your fault, she said, her voice shaking. You made me look bad in front of everyone. You would not just follow the rules. You had to fight everything. I did not say anything. The deputy escorted Nicole to the patrol car. She did not resist, but she kept looking back at the clubhouse like she was trying to figure out what had just happened. Greg arrived 15 minutes later with Deborah. They walked into the clubhouse and stared at the opened boxes in the storage closet. Greg pulled out his phone and started taking notes. This is a disaster, he said, shaking his head. How long has this been going on? I do not know, I said. But the key log shows she has been in here regularly for weeks. You need to check the clubhouse inventory and see what else is missing. Deborah pulled up a spreadsheet on her tablet. The last full inventory was done 3 months ago, she said. We have been missing cleaning supplies, light bulbs, and small tools. Nicole always said it was poor tracking, but now I am wondering if she was taking them. Greg looked at me. I owe you an apology, he said. Nicole has been on the board for 2 years and we trusted her. We had no idea she was doing this. She was framing me to cover it up, I said. She accused me of stealing from Tyler's car, then tried to tow my car, then staged security footage to make it look like I was taking things from the storage closet. She was destroying my reputation so no one would believe me when I found proof. Greg nodded. I am going to recommend the board suspend Nicole immediately and open a full investigation. We will also issue a formal apology to you and refund any fees or fines you incurred during this mess. I want more than an apology, I said. I want the HOA to freeze all enforcement actions until you complete a neutral review of every complaint Nicole handled. She has been selectively enforcing rules and targeting residents who push back. If you do not fix the system, this is going to happen again. Greg looked uncomfortable, but he nodded. I will bring it to the board at the next meeting. A week later, I received a certified letter from the Granite Falls Property Owners Association. It was a formal apology signed by the board president. The letter stated that Nicole Barrett had been removed from her role as enforcement liaison and was no longer allowed to communicate with residents except in writing, and only through the management office. The HOA was freezing all enforcement actions pending a neutral third-party review of complaints filed in the past year. The letter also included a settlement offer. The HOA would refund all fees I had paid during Nicole's tenure, waive my dues for 6 months, and cover my attorney consultation costs if I agreed not to pursue further legal action. I signed the agreement and sent it back. 2 weeks after that, I ran into Tyler at the mailbox cluster. He was holding a stack of envelopes and shaking his head. Did you hear about Nicole? He asked. I heard she got removed from the board, I said. It is worse than that, Tyler said. The police charged her with multiple counts of theft. Turns out she was not just taking packages. She was skimming cash from the clubhouse petty fund and selling tools she stole from the maintenance closet online. A key log review proved only leadership had access, and she was the only one who matched the transaction times. I felt a cold satisfaction settle in my chest. Nicole had tried to destroy me to cover her crimes, and now she was facing real consequences. A month later, I was walking to my car when I saw a woman standing near the clubhouse entrance. She was holding a clipboard and talking to a group of residents. I recognized her. She was the new enforcement liaison, a retired teacher named Susan, who had a reputation for being fair and calm. She saw me and waved. "I wanted to thank you," she said, walking over. "The board told me what happened with Nicole. You did everyone a favor by exposing her. The new policies we are putting in place are going to make this complex a lot better." "I hope so," I said. Susan smiled. "We are requiring all enforcement actions to go through a review committee now. No more one-person decisions. And we are auditing the key logs and inventory every month. If someone tries to pull what Nicole did, we will catch it immediately." I nodded. "That is good to hear." I walked back to my car and sat in the driver's seat for a minute, staring at the rows of townhomes. Nicole had tried to bury me with fake violations, stolen evidence, and relentless harassment. But I had fought back with documentation, witnesses, and a refusal to let her control the narrative. In the end, the proof spoke louder than her authority theatrics. I pulled out of my parking spot and drove toward the exit. As I passed the management office, I saw a sign in the window. "New enforcement policies in effect. All residents welcome to review." It was a small victory, but it was real. I will catch you again soon.